And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Pug Thompson. 100% agree. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Let's talk about Cynthia Calvillo. She did not make weight. This was something you had reached out to me and said, she's done this a couple times. Am I correct?
Yeah, second time. She's in that position. She's fighting at 115 pounds, and she's a great fighter. She is really good. She had that one setback against Carla Esparza, but then she missed weight. I think it was against Paulina. I'm not sure who it was, but she won that fight. And this fight is a tough fight. This is against Marina Rodriguez, who's tough. She's got good stand-up, good Muay Thai. I think Cynthia's definitely got the better ground game and has an advantage on the ground. But coming in 4.5 pounds, and we're talking that's with the 1 pound allowance they give you. She came in at 120.5, supposed to be 115. You can't make that. You got that responsibility as a pro, and I know it's not nice to say, but it's just the damn truth. The 3 things that I always say: be on time, don't make other people wait for you. Make the weight. If you signed the contract and you said, I'm going to be at that weight, you've got to make the weight. If you can't do it, say, I need to move up in weight. And the last thing is, hey, fight as hard as you can. Give everything you got. You got to make weight. It's part of your responsibility. It is your job. And I'm the first guy to say, I don't like weight cuts. But if you can't make that weight, don't sign that contract.
Let me ask you this. Do you hold any water on the fact that
I hold my water all the time?
not your bladder, your water.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
That she's a female and maybe it's that time of the month. But I mean, 4 pounds is a lot, though. That's the problem. 4.5, 5 pounds is a lot.
It can happen all the time, and I do believe that female fighters have a distinct disadvantage that they can end up having. Something occur in the month at that time when they're losing weight that just makes it very rough on them. And, it's hard to foresee it. Women get into a cycle and they'll kind of know about when they're going to be at that. And if you look and say that fight date is near when I'm normally going to be in that position, it's like, you got to take that into consideration. This is part of your entire process.
The other thing, too, is when they get into camp, sometimes when they start training, their body changes and the cycle changes with it, though, from what I understand, is that, from the intense training, sometimes they won't get it at all. And sometimes
they won't.
Yeah, sometimes it'll change. It'll change to when sometimes, let's just say they would get it normally be the first week of the month. Now, all of a sudden, it came a week and a half early. Now you're like, shit, I wasn't supposed to have it. And that right there makes them retain water, makes them feel, I've heard bloated and disgusting and all these other things. But 4.5 pounds, 5 pounds, 5.5 pounds is a lot of damn weight. I mean, you got to start thinking like you're actually closer to the weight class above than you are the weight class you're supposed to be fighting in.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
You're closer to that 125 limit than you are that 115 limit. You got a half pound there that's the variance, and it's like, man, it's rough on her opponent, because now if she goes and she beats Rodriguez, you look and you go, well, yeah, Rodriguez got, I think it was 30% of her pay or whatever it's going to be, and that's a nice little bump, but I think she would rather have a win than that bump, and she's saying, hey, I had someone that didn't have to lose all the weight. They were heavier, bigger than me, all these things, and it's just every bit of it is a problem.
Do you think that the commissions should start maybe coming in and saying look, we allow this to happen, but if Cynthia wins, it becomes a no contest, and then if her opponent wins, she gets the win. If she loses, I feel like when you start allowing fights with 5 and 6 pounds differences, it's almost like and I'm not trying to knock Cynthia at all, but there gets to a point where sometimes you're like, it doesn't even seem like you tried to make the weight. Like, we had a guy, remember the guy from Mohegan Sun, the really good kickboxer? He was 11 pounds over. I'm all, did you even try?
Robin Van Rossmolen.
I was all amped up and excited to watch him fight. You got me all hyped up all week, and then he fucking was 11 pounds over, and I'm all, what in the fuck?
I don't blame you. And it was at a weight that he always fought at. But He had weight problems in the past in kickboxing, I know. So there's so many different ideas out there. And the one thing that I've heard that it almost seems like the fairest is, they were talking about, how about if we take a point away from the person that's overweight on their scorecard? Automatic, you get a 1-point deduction.
It's just hard.
I can't say that's the right thing either. I'm not saying it is. But there's a distinct disadvantage to the person that went through that process, just like what you're saying. And you said it so many times, is when I make weight, I know I've done my hard work. I've got it all. Everything from this point is easy. Yeah. Because that weight cut sucks, and mentally it's draining, and it's physically exhausting as far as just the toll it takes on your body. And it is a process that if someone doesn't have to do it, it's a distinct advantage. Now, if that's an advantage that they're gaining because they're saying, I'm not cutting weight, so I don't have to go through it, great. You deserve that advantage. If you're just not making the weight, then you don't deserve that advantage.
Yeah, it's a sticky situation. The only thing is, if it was a boxing match where we had 12 rounds or 10 rounds and you're going to take a point for one round, I'd be like, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that's my problem with it.
But in a 3-round fight, there's no way, man.
But then you're saying take the entire fight away from them if they went get them a no contest.
Yeah, I kind of think that's fair.
That's fair. You take the whole fight.
I mean, 3 rounds. I guess maybe you'll get them raising their level of intensity to try to get the finish. Because they're already fighting from down a point.
That you can do that with a point. You can't do it with yours. If I finish, it's going to be a no contest anyway.
Yeah, I mean, at least I still get paid. That's one way of looking at it, right? At the end of the day, it's about making money. Sorry, I'm a money hawk. When it comes to stuff like that, I start weighing my options. Okay, so how can I make the most money? Oh, that's right, make weight. That's one way of doing it.
That is.
Yeah, I really like Cynthia Calvillo, but she's had this problem from one time before. I thought she had it more than one time, but maybe I'm wrong. You're saying once before.
I just know of the once, and I know that was pretty recently.
Yeah.
Well, maybe within a year, I would say.
She I'd like to see her. Yeah. Stay at, I guess just why not just stay at 125? You obviously walk around 130 probably. She probably walks around about 130. Why not just stay at 125, or maybe just kind of put a little bit of more muscle on, and and I don't know how old she is, but she seems like she's really
32.
Oh wow, so she is older. I'm sorry, she's not old, but I'm saying she's
look at you, man.
Hey, I'm old as I'm old. Like knock the cobwebs out of my ears, yeah, kind of thing.
My cobwebs left.
Spiders don't even want to wrinkle around on you, huh?
Too old.
So, yeah, there's not really much I can say. Like, you have a responsibility. There's responsibilities to make weight. I always just get a little nervous when I'm talking about women and them making weight because they have things that happen to their body that men don't have. So for a man, for me to think like when a man signs a contract, dude, that's your fucking weight. You said be a professional. Your job is to make weight, show up to the fight, and perform. That's it. Fucking do those things. That's your job. Once you sign on that contract, that's your job. With women, I feel the same way, except you just don't know when they're going to get that monthly cycle. And when they do, you're like, you feel for them. Now, I don't know if she has that going on right now. But, but 5 pounds is a lot, though, too, for that to, like, not get any water out. I get it. But, anyways. That should be a good, interesting topic tonight on if Cynthia wins. Like, what do you do? Like, how do we make these adjustments? Because back in the day, I was cornering and coaching Anthony Johnson. And Anthony Johnson, I believe he fought this guy named...
never had a weight problem in his life.
Never. He fought Luigi Floravante, I think is what his name was.
Oh, Luigi, yeah.
And he came in 6.5 pounds overweight. Not Luigi.
I know. Yeah, it was Anthony. Yeah.
And AJ goes out there and just starches him. And I'm like, all right, what do you do? Like, what do you do for that fight?
And this is the problem, is all of the pressure at this point is put on Marina against Cynthia or against AJ. It's on Luigi. It's that, hey, your opponent's overweight, and so now you're in the position of, I have trained all this time for this fight, and if I say no, I'm not going to get paid because you're the one saying no. And you have to weigh that out, and it's not an easy position for the fighter to be in. It's a really rough one. You look at when we talk about Marina Rodriguez, this is a girl coming into this fight that's got an undefeated record. I think she's 12-0-1.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got a lot riding on this fight, and it's against a really good fighter in Calvillo, and you're looking and going, man, just that extra weight and the fact that she, how much struggle did she put in? Maybe she struggled greatly. I don't know. Maybe she really did, and it just didn't come off, and maybe she struggled a little bit. Maybe she didn't struggle that much. You don't know. And it's just an unfair advantage that she walks into that cage with tonight.
Yeah, I agree it is an unfair advantage. I don't know. There was something I wanted to say. I don't know. I want to see the fight, but I think it's not fair for the whoever made weight and the other person didn't make weight. When you're talking about more than like 3 to 5 pounds, like that person who made weight should have the option to get paid their show money and leave. Like that's it. Like the promotion should pay them their show money. They made their weight. They kept their end of the bargain.
I understand.
If I choose not to fight that person, that's not on me.
Point where you're looking at it and you're just now as the promoter. I'm not the guy that normally sides with the promoters, but
you're betraying the fighters. You're betraying the fighters, John. You're betraying them.
I know, but is it fair to the promotion? Not only are you're putting money out, you're not even getting the fight, and you're having to pay for it to a point. Yeah, it's just rough. It's not good for anybody, and that's what this entire situation causes.
Here's the thing: Cynthia Calvillo though is in a shitty. She caused this shitty situation on herself. But if she doesn't make weight and then she goes out there and loses, that's basically, to me, that's almost grounds for being cut. That's one. Like you didn't make weight and you lost the fight, so that's one. As for her opponent, I feel like she should get paid her show money at least. And we know that when you're
I agree,
when you're relatively like not new, but you're not a big name, you pretty much are getting paid like half your purse, which is not a lot. I mean, you should still at least get paid. Now, as a promotion, you should be thinking like, hey, that's somebody who takes their job serious. They made weight. I shouldn't punish them. And if I want them to keep fighting for me and not think about maybe free market agency, like when their contract comes up, I should pay them at least their show money. They did everything that they were supposed to do. That's a sign of good faith, I believe. Or just guarantee them a little bit of a bump in their next fight.
And this is where it comes down to. You can look at, I don't feel bad if the UFC has to pay that money. I don't feel bad. They have they have a lot of money. I don't feel bad if Bellator has to pay that money.
I don't.
Okay, I don't either. But when you get down into this is just the way it's done, and you get down into the lower ranks, you're talking about some promoters, they're not making money, or they're barely making money, or they're losing a little bit of money, and now you're having them pay for somebody that they not only paid to possibly come out, paid for a hotel room, and now they're paying for a fight that they don't even get. That sucks when you're the promoter. Now, I'm not saying I'm on the promoter's side, but I can see the way they look at it. I'm always going to be on the fighter side, and definitely the fighter that put in the work, made the weight, they should get paid.
But yeah, so you just changed the argument, okay? Don't try to skew this argument in your direction now. Look, I understand when you're. I'm talking Bellator, UFC, those 3 promotions. When someone comes and doesn't make weight, you should pay them the bottom. When we're talking, and no knock to Terry Troublecock, we're talking King of the Cage and below. We're talking King of the Cage and below. I understand, because literally, I get he's trying to have as many fights on the card as he can. And this is what happens with the smaller shows. I mean, you'll show up, you'll get 15 opponent changes in in a 6-week camp, and then you'll show up and your guy's makes weight and then doesn't show up to the fight. It's like he's went through all the work to fight, sees you on the scale, is like, yeah, fuck that, I'm not fighting that guy. I ain't fighting that
exactly
guy.
It.
So, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Now, if you were talking just Bellator, UFC 1, even LFA, I'll put it on Eddie Soares. Yeah, I'm okay with the promotion's got to pay for that person that made weight. Yes, at a minimum they get their show money or they get their contracted pay.
Yeah, because at the top organizations, you're fighting stone cold killers. And these guys, if they've got to that organization, they should be professionals and make weight. I shouldn't have to go out there and then give up 5 pounds and fight someone who I know is fucking really good and be like, now I'm going to put my undefeated record on the line like you're saying her opponent has. It's just not fair. Like, I should have the option to say, hey, I'll just take my show money. Maybe we'll run this back when she can actually get fit enough to get in shape, or maybe like not on her cycle or whatever it is, or sign me up for another fight, coming up within the next couple of weeks. I'm already in shape. I get another 2 weeks of training. Let's go. But yeah,
You got to figure they're the co-main event too, though.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
That's
crazy.
a big fight.
Yeah, I would have bumped it now down to the lower main event. Sorry, man. Sorry, I feel bad
Sorry,
for her.
you're out.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk. Now that we're talking big time fights, Frankie Edgar, last minute replacement.
Frankie Edgar is an animal.
He is. He's an absolute animal.
I love that guy.
This guy is. I've said this multiple times. One of my closest friends in the sport, and just absolutely one of the greatest people to be around. Just fucking phenomenal. Him, his family, his kids, his wife. I mean, all of even all the guys he trains with, they're all just phenomenal people. Gosh, but tough fight. But to me, we talked about this off air before we started filming. We're so much happier seeing him at 145. Him fighting Korean Zombie, I think he's got a good chance of beating him. Zombie's so much bigger than him, but I prefer to see him.
Who's not bigger than him?
Yeah, I know. That's true. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Come
pretty
on,
much.
Frankie.
Yeah, I even think Demetrius Johnson was bigger than him.
DJ.
DJ.
That would be they might be almost exactly the same. But
That would have been a good fight. Now that I think about that, that would have been a kind of a cool fight to see.
Oh, now you want Frankie to go to 135. Look at
No, I just would have liked to seen that fight between DJ and him. But look, him and Korean Zombie, great fight. I think Frankie's got all the tools and all the things he needs. Zombies, to me, doesn't seem very fast. He's very stiff. Doesn't seem very fast, but he gets the job done. Like his relentless pressure and like the way he just stalks.
A lot of good ground pressure.
Ground pressure, stocky. I just don't know if he can get. I don't think he can get Frankie down. Frankie on top could do some
damage. And I don't think
damage.
you can keep Frankie down if something happened. Frankie scrambles so well.
Yeah.
His transition to get himself back up he's fast. He does things really technically so well. Mm-hmm. I think this fight's going to end up where Frankie wants it to be, and I do think that Frankie will take him down. I think that he'll take him down, and he's got people do not give credit to ground and pound the way it deserves, because there are people out there. Ground and pound is a specific skill set, and when it's done right, it is devastating. Devastating when a guy like Frankie, who you cannot get off of you can't reverse the position, you can't get up, and you cannot stop the shots that are coming in. And he's very selective in those shots. He doesn't just wing shots. He is picking a shot, taking his time, aiming it, hitting it, and then just doing it over and over again. And that's the way that I think he's going to end up getting this win.
Yeah, the one thing that Frankie's always, I trained with him for a couple of years. One thing that he does very well, on his entry, he'll get in on the double leg or the single leg, and he'll change the angle as soon as he gets in. As soon as he changes the angle, he gets you moving. He gets your feet moving, and once he gets
he'll change the angle again.
And he'll change the angle again. And he's not the guy that's just going to power double you and lift you and slam you. Don't get me wrong, he's been able to do that a couple times because he's gotten in so deep, but he's the guy that hits the single, switches to the double, turns, changes the angle, just drives through you. It's fucking beautiful to see. And I think if we get to that Frankie Edgar of him not forcing the shot, but mixing it up with his striking, which he's been doing his whole career, so I don't see why he would change at this fight. Gosh, man, he's nasty. And the other thing, too, is when I did train with him even years ago for the second Benson fight, I trained with him as well. Him kicking you, when you go to kick him back, he's got like cat-like reflexes. You kick him back, and he like lands on his feet and pounces forward back on top of you. When you're talking about ground and pound, you just can't get him off you. I mean, he reminds me a lot of Justin Wilcox was that way too. He's just like that short, stocky, but they were so I don't want to say aggressive, but so athletic. They would just hit their feet, boom, bounce back on top of you, and there's nothing you could do to get him off. You couldn't get back to your feet before they could bounce back to you to get back to you. And his ground and pound is nasty because when you do kick him back, they don't go very far. They go back, they come back, and they start landing more shots. And they always enter in with shots, which makes people kind of cover up and stop focusing on getting up. And you saw that a little bit when he fought BJ Penn. I want to say, what was it, the third time? Yeah, the third time he fought BJ. He just had some nasty ground and pound. And he's got.
It was ugly.
Yeah, it was ugly. But I mean, like he's always been known to have really good ground and pound because you just can't get him off you. He's just that I don't want to say a little gnat, but he's like that little gnat. You just can't. Yeah, you just can't get him off you. And
he doesn't have that heavy pressure.
No,
it's not. And everyone's got a different style, but he's got that top game where you push him off. I mean, you push him, and he's thrown up in the air, and his feet hit the ground, and he's just bouncing right back at you before you're able to get up. People forget when he fought Yair Rodriguez. Look at what he did.
Yeah.
To Yair, and you can look at what Yair has done, from that point, and what he did before, because he had the fight against BJ. That I did that fight, and he just looked fantastic. And then Frankie derailed him with a ground and pound.
Yeah.
And that's what Frankie can do. He's got that skill set.
Yeah, and when you look how Yair was losing to Korean Zombie, I think it makes for a very good fight. I know stylistically they're different people, but the movement Korean Zombie was able to stop Yair's movement and land shots. Frankie moves very similar, not similar like as in what strikes come, but his footwork is very good. But the threat of the takedown is there versus what Yair brings. There was never really a whole lot of a threat of a takedown with him against Zombie, whereas Frankie can threaten it at any moment, any time. So I think this makes for a good fight. And like I said, I'm excited that he's staying at 145. I just feel like it's better for him. I know maybe potentially he'll never be champion there. But for me, I'd rather see health-wise and just speed kills. 135 to me is not the business for him. I'd like to see him stay at 145. I would actually even rather see him go up to 155 rather than go down to 135. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
155 was, I know he was small there.
Yeah.
I know that. He was also champion there.
Yes.
All right. So let's just look at it that way. And he was so fast, he created problems for guys.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that maybe up to 155, but 145 is the biggest problem I think people are looking at is, well, he can't beat Holloway.
Yeah.
He just got beat by him, but he did get beaten. He got beat pretty convincingly, but he was in that fight the whole time.
Yeah. And
it's just give that a couple of changes in that fight, give him a different night. I think he can end up beating anybody on any particular night. I'm not saying that he's going to be the favorite going against Holloway. He's not. Yeah. But Frankie Edgar on any given night, he can beat anybody.
Yeah, and I want people to remind people, let's not forget the two Gray Maynard fights. And Gray's a good friend of mine as well, but let's not forget the two fights, especially the second one. He got dropped a bunch, got rocked, got hurt, like the first one he got dropped a lot, but I'm saying in the second fight, he was in trouble in that fight as well. Oh. And he came back and finishes Gray in that fight. There's no quitting this guy. So when people are like, "Oh yeah, he's out of the fight," he's never out of the fight. He's the one guy when when people say he's out of the fight, I'm like, "Shut up, sit down, hold my beer, watch this, watch what he does." I'm like, "Watch what he does." Yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's pretty impressive to see. I think hands down he can win this fight. He's just got to fight a smart fight and not get hit with big shots. Zombie got some power in them fucking hands.
Does got good power,
and he's got a fucking chin on him. Jeez. So, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
You brought up Gray Maynard. You know he's a free agent. You think that someone's going to sign him?
No.
Neither do I.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, somebody else talking about free agents. Liz Carmouche, she got released.
Liz Carmouche just got released.
Renan Barao.
Surprising.
Renan Barao got released.
Yep.
So, what do you think? What's your thoughts?
As far as which one? Which one or why?
I'm a huge fan of Liz Carmouche, which I thought was kind of shady with apparently they cut her while she was doing a promo for a PR event for the UFC. So she was off doing something for a PR event for the UFC, and she found out through somebody that she got cut there.
Wow, you would think that someone would have figured out things a little beforehand that they had her doing a promo.
Yeah. Hey, make your money, girl, Make your money. Here's my concern with Liz Carmouche. I don't see her coming to Bellator because her and Alimale are teammates. They fight in the same way. They would fight in the same weight class.
Yep, 125 now.
Unless Liz is going to go up to 145, which I don't think
that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be very smart. I don't know, man. Unless I'm always saying this, unless we start a 135-pound weight class for females in Bellator.
I just don't see that happening.
And if we don't do that, then I don't know what we do with her. Like, really, fine, we can sign her. I'd love to have her.
Wow,
she's
look at
phenomenal.
you. You're already signing her, man.
We can sign her. I think we'd be great to sign her. But the problem is she would have to sit on the sideline until Lima Lay loses the title. And I don't know if I see that happening anytime soon.
I don't know if she'd have to sit on the sideline. The real question is this, is if you're going to sign her, you know that she's going to be that person you can use almost like a gatekeeper.
Yeah, does she want that, though?
Yeah, exactly. That's the question, because you know that if she goes and beats your other fighters in that weight class, eventually you're stuck in the fact that, well, either she's going to fight the champion or she won't fight the champion. So then there's just, you're building nothing.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Well, yeah. And you don't want her to beat all your number one contenders either. That's the thing. Like, you want to have them fight. You don't want her to beat all your up and comers and your number one contenders, because then you're like, shit, you're kind of ruining their careers before they even get started. Yep. You know, and so it becomes a problem. But I don't know what to do. I'd love watching her fight, and I'd love to have her in Bellator. But you know, when the end result is to get to the title and she doesn't have that opportunity, then you got to figure out what she wants to do. I can see her going to one. They've got a good little females unit over there. You got Michelle Nicolini. You've got what's her, Angela Lee. You've got
they're small though.
Yeah, they're 115. 115.
Angela Lee fights at 105 and 115.
Good God.
Nicolini's 115. Yeah, 115. I mean, you're talking some small fighters there.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
It's a hard position.
Yeah.
Because she is a teammate of Alimale, it puts a lot of, pressure. It's almost, that same thing that happened with, Cain Velasquez and DC being at AKA together. One of them decided, I'll go to light heavyweight, being DC, because you don't want to fight each other. And I don't blame him for not wanting to fight each other.
Yeah. DC tried to stay at heavyweight as long as he could. And they were like, look, dude, we're tired of paying you to beat all the number one contenders. That's really what happened. Like, he's beating Big Country, Frank Mir, beating all these guys. They're like, look, you're beating all the guys that are going to potentially fight for the title. We can't have that anymore. Good. Yeah, you're kind of ruining what we're going to set up for Cain. That's pretty funny. DC's like, all right, fuck it, I'll go down to fucking light. Yeah. So, good stuff, though. Good stuff. All right. And then Renan Barao, where does he go? One.
Yeah, maybe. I just don't see. When Renan Barao was at 135, he just didn't have it the same after a while. Something happened. And I don't know if it was because of all the weight cuts to get down to that 135 that started to break him down. But, he had some great fights at 135 for a while. And then all of a sudden, everything changed. And I don't know what it was that really occurred to make that change happen. But I think he's on a 5-fight losing streak right now. And it's just going to be really rough for him to, come into an organization. I look at Bellator right now. Bellator's really put in lately. They've been signing some killers at 135.
Yeah.
And 135 was a very weak division for a while, and all of a sudden now it's got some really strong fighters in it.
Yeah.
And I just don't see him being part of that. And also, you go back to teammates. You got Dantas at 135. That's a teammate.
That's right.
That's a problem. So,
I mean, yeah. I guess with the amount of talent we're signing at 135 for Bellator, we could keep them away from each other, because I don't want to say one's not the champion, so we can keep them away from each other until they get to a title shot. I don't know if Dantas is going to get to the title shot at 135.
I'm not saying he is, but you got to figure. I'm not saying I know anything. I don't.
No. Yeah.
But Bellator has been having these Grand Prix, which I think are awesome, and they've had the heavyweight and the welterweight, and now the featherweight. That bantamweight's got to come around sometime if they're going to continue it, which I think they are.
Yeah.
And
I'm surprised.
You're going to have both guys in it?
I'm surprised we haven't done the lightweight one yet, but I think because Ryzen's doing theirs. Possibly. Anyways,
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I don't see any place where he'll come in. I look at it, and no knock on Josh Koscheck, but I look at it like a Koscheck situation. You bring him in, there's like maybe if there was one guy that we wanted to see him fight, maybe like a Juan Archuleta because of the relationship between him and TJ. You could try to have him fight. That would be it. But Juan, I think, would beat him pretty convincingly. And that's the problem, I think, right now at his point in his career. I couldn't tell you. I don't see a spot really for him in Bellator as well. So I am interested in Liz Carmouche, but the problem is with Ali Malay. Who else was cut? Was somebody else cut? No. Those are I'm sure there were other people cut, but those are the two.
What about
bigger
they got
names.
all of a sudden Michael Venom Page is going to be fighting in Japan on the 29th.
Yeah, I'm because
I'm 100% behind that.
Yeah. We lost Benson against Chandler, which I gotta tell you, I'm actually kind of happy.
I think that needs to be a 5-round fight.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it needs to be. It needs to be a 5-round fight. It can't be a 3-round fight. I want to see it in a 5-round fight. I think Benson has the edge in a 5-round fight. I think the other edge goes to...
Oh, so you're saying you want Benson to win.
I didn't say that. But it's kind of leaning to that, yeah.
I will say I like the opponent that they got for Chandler in Sydney Outlaw.
Yeah.
Sydney is a tough dude, good ground game. Not sure that he matches up great with Chandler in certain areas, but a really quality replacement, especially since Sydney just coming off of a win against Roger Huerta from Israel. So he's on a little bit of a high. He's on, I want to say, a 9-fight win streak right now. So he's fighting well, and he was in shape for that. All he has to do is try to roll that over, keep that camp going just a little bit, just get that little thing back and go there and do his thing against Chandler.
I love when young guys like this take a chance.
Yeah.
You have, if you beat Chandler,
Set yourself up.
You're right there. Your next fight is probably Benson, and then after Benson for the title, your next fight's probably somebody at that. Chandler's at the top echelon, but you're right there. It'd be basically Chandler, maybe one more fight just to make sure it wasn't a fluke, and then they would throw you right into a title shot. But I'd love to see it. Outlaw's tough, man. This is a big step up in competition.
Oh yeah,
Chandler in a 3-round fight. As much as I like to, as much as I don't want to toot his horn, but he's really good in 3-round fights. I think he's an animal. In 5-round fights, he struggles. 5-round fights, he tends to struggle. He's got that explosive, fast twitch muscle that just tends to slow down as the fight goes on. But in a 3-round fight, he's dangerous for everyone.
Yeah, very, very fast starter too, and just explosive in everything he does from the very beginning. So he's a handful. But Sydney's got that background where he's got good wrestling. He's got a very good ground game. Positionally on top, he's incredibly heavy. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's going to be able to get that top position and hold that top position against Chandler, though.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. A guy that small, like that short and compact and explosive Chandler, feet on the hips, kicking him off. I think Chandler and he's got such fluidity when he wrestles and scrambles, and he never stops moving until he's like kind of in a safe position.
Never acquiesces to a position. Will always say, if this is not what I want, I will not settle.
Yeah.
And you got to love that.
It's funny. I follow him on Instagram, Chandler, and I see like all the scrambling drills and stuff that he does with Usman and some of the guys there. Yeah.
Logan
Storley. I haven't seen one with Storley yet, but I've seen a couple with Usman. And I saw one, I think, with Michael Johnson. And I'm thinking to myself, very good. Like that continuous wrestling, the flow drill kind of thing, always keeping your hands on your opponent. It's very smart. Those are like things I used to do in high school for wrestling, a little bit in college too. But it was like it works. It translates so well into MMA because you always want to make sure you keep within striking distance of your opponent when you're fighting. And I think I learned a lot from doing those type of drills that I carried over from wrestling into fighting. And to see him doing it and to see how well he does it, I mean, it's very impressive. And I'm not someone to give Chandler like a lot of props, but I gotta say,
no, you don't give him any props.
but I think he's talented, man. There's never been any doubt whether he's
fantastic.
a talented guy. But yeah, I like the way he moves, like the way he scrambles, But we'll see. Here's the thing: when you have a top guy like him, and you're fighting someone who you consider relatively unknown, it's hard. And then you're fighting in Japan, and I want people to understand: when you fight in Japan, it's not the same.
No, it's a different. What a weird atmosphere.
Everything is different. The week of the fight is different. Like no one really speaks English to you. Like weigh-ins are different. Presentation's different. Like the way they walk you through the crowd is different. They have like a mob of like security people walking you through. Like you're a legit star there. I mean, when I went there and fought Kawajiri for New Year's. I had like people sleeping outside the hotel, like holding signs and just like, like it was insane. It was crazy. We had a blast, but also too, when you fight, it's dead quiet. It's so
totally
quiet.
Silent.
And then
you can hear you coach though.
Yeah, you can. Yes, yes, you can. That actually got me out of an arm bar one time. I could hear Bob Cook push the feet off your head. I was like this close to tapping, like, oh, this is fucking painful. But no, yeah, Bob's like, push the feet off your face, and I was able to wiggle and get free. But it was just funny that it's true. It's so just different. Like you're fighting, you can hear the ring in the cage, like
everything.
Boom, and then something exciting happens, and they go, yeah, oh, and then it goes back to being dead quiet. It's really so. If you've never fought there, you're in for an experience, ladies and gentlemen. You are in for an experience.
I always say it's the toughest places to fight. The toughest place to fight, in my opinion, was at the Ultimate Fighter House. In that show, when you were fighting in front of. In the beginning, especially when there was no one allowed in there, it's dead silent. There's nothing there. And there's no energy.
Wow.
And it's just an odd situation to fight in. Then they kind of allowed all the other fighters to watch. And so you got a little bit of energy there. The Dana White series is similar. Yeah. Sydney has fought in that to where there's not a whole lot of crowd noise. But Japan is a different experience. And if you're not used to it, it can absolutely throw you off.
Yeah, it threw me off the fact that I saw 50,000 people there and 43,000
dead silent.
And dead silent. And I was just like, until I almost got armbarred, they got really loud. And I was like, and then as soon as I escaped, it was like, whoa. And then it was back to quiet again.
Back to quiet.
And then even when you win, you jump up like, yeah, I won, expecting the crowd to go crazy. And it's just like a golf clap.
Yep.
It's like, man, this is not what I came here for, but I understand. It's pretty cool, though. I mean, it's definitely a life experience that a lot of people wish they had. I remember talking to a couple fighters, and they were like, man, the one thing I always wanted to do was fight in Pride, and then they never got the opportunity to. And I mean, I fought in Pride, I fought in Dream, I fought in Japan. It's like, I love it, man. Loved it. Great opportunity. Something I can say that I did that some other fighters wish they could have done.
All right, let's talk about, got to come up with, we got two fights coming up today.
Yes.
We've got Ruiz versus Joshua. Who do you got?
Well, since I'm Mexican, I'm going to go with Ruiz. I'm going to go with Ruiz. Right. Did I read this correctly? Did he weigh in at 283?
No, you're kidding me.
Yes.
283?
And he looked a lot leaner and smaller, but someone said he weighed in at 283. I don't think that's right. Because he was 260 something his first fight with them.
Yeah.
I'm pulling it up for you right
now. I don't know if that's right. Yeah, Dave's gonna pull it up and see. But anyways,
what did Joshua weigh in at? Because I know he was smaller.
Yeah, Joshua's smaller. They both look smaller. Like when I saw them, they both look leaner. They both look like they're in better shape. Phenomenal shape.
Man, if he's 283, I'm going to change my mind.
That shocks me. I don't know if that's true. Someone said he weighed in at 283 though. Yesterday I had 3 people tell me he weighed in at 283. I was like, it's got to be a typo.
Well, this is one of those fights where both guys obviously can win, and Joshua definitely can beat Ruiz. Mm-hmm. But he needs to fight a specific fight. He can't be that guy that he was in their first fight in New York, where he just starts throwing away being a defensive fighter to open up and try to get rid of somebody, because he saw openings and he thought he was going to attack those, but he's leaving himself open. And a guy with fast hands like Ruiz, and Ruiz doesn't look like much, but man, I worked with him when I was in California. He's got fast hands. He's got a good he moves well. he just doesn't look like the athlete that Joshua looks like, but he is.
I want to remind people of another chubby Mexican, Cain Velasquez. Okay,
Yeah,
let's stop with the stereotypes and the looks. They're fucking phenomenal athletes. I mean,
hey, you're the one wanting abs all the time.
Yes, because I've got an ego problem and I need to see them for me to feel good about myself.
It's always better to have a keg than a six-pack.
It was 283.7.
How much?
He used 283.7.
He used to weigh what?
283.
280. So what did he weigh? He weighed 283.7.
Yeah.
Jesus, look, he looked leaner. He looked more fit this fight.
Muscle weighs more than fat.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you never know. I mean, that's a lot, though. I mean, like, I don't know what he weighed last fight, but I don't think it was that much. He weighed 268 last fight.
Yeah.
He weighs more this fight. That's strange to me. Strange to me.
15 pounds.
But he looks physically leaner. Like, I look at his face. His face looks leaner. His body looked leaner. He looked better at the weigh-ins.
6'1", 283 pounds. That's a lot.
That is a lot. But here's the thing. I think also, too, the fact that he is a little heavier, I was afraid he was going to lose. He was going to get down to like 250. He wouldn't be able to pack as much punch as he did in the first fight.
Yeah.
And I do agree. To me, he's the better boxer. He's got a lot more.
He's got the faster hands.
He's got the faster hands. I believe he does. Joshua's got the better jab to keep the distance in the range all day, but Ruiz has the better head movement to get himself on the inside. If Ruiz is going to make this a grimy, just dirty fight, like getting in there, being dirty, getting to the body, digging to the body, coming back up to the head, I think Ruiz all day long.
Yep, me too.
Also,
but
too, go ahead.
If Joshua does exactly what you said, because he's got one tool that is an absolute advantage. He's got a great jab.
Yep.
And if he can just stick that jab and use footwork as he jabs, when Ruiz makes that rush inside, lateral movement out, reset, pop him again with the jab, and make him have to pay for all of that work that got him nothing, that's Anthony Joshua can win that fight.
So there was something that I read a while back. Ruiz has got, including his amateur record, including his pro record, he's got like 100 and something fights. Okay? Yeah. He's got 5 losses.
Yeah.
Like people
good.
overlook the fact that the way he looks.
Yes.
Dude, he's got like 5 losses. That's including his amateur record and this record. And I believe some of them are like split decision losses, like super close to them that he should have won. One or two.
He's only got 1 pro loss.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the amateur, his amateur record. He's only got 1 pro loss. I know that, but I'm saying like he's got 3 or 4 other losses as an amateur, but he had like 80-something fights as an amateur and only lost like 3 of them or something along the lines. He's phenomenal, man. I don't understand why people overlooked him or thought maybe
they overlook him because of the way he looks.
Yeah, look, I'm cheering for him. Joe
Frazier didn't have a pretty body either.
Yeah, it's true.
But he could definitely left hook you to death.
Yeah. Look,
so can Ruiz.
I like these kind of stories because he was somebody that was obviously thrown in there to lose. And the fact that he came out and he won, and if he can go out there and do it again, he can show the world it's not a fluke. And look, Anthony Joshua will be just fine, okay? He's a good-looking guy. He fights really well. But maybe this is just an eye-opening experience of what the details and the techniques that he needs to work on to get better. Like good looks and a good jab is not going to continuing to win you championships. He's got to evolve, and I think that Ruiz exposed some of those things that he needs to evolve to. He needs to be able to settle down, not get over anxious. Because after he dropped Ruiz, that's when he started to get a little over anxious, and that's when he opened himself up, and Ruiz was able to land some good stuff, and that wobbled him and sat him to his knee. So I'm excited to see the fight. I'm actually was so amped up. We were all talking about it throughout my gym here, and we're just like, hey, we're gonna watch it. I think in the gym today at like 1 o'clock, 12:45. I think is when the main event.
The main event 2:30. Oh no!
Yeah, that's
your time. 2:30 my time. Yeah.
12:45, 12:30, 12:45 my time is what I heard. Yeah. So I'll be just glued to the TV to watch that.
Yeah, but the one thing to think about is this, and like you're talking with Joshua. Joshua's a phenomenal fighter, but everyone, I don't care who you are, and this is what we're talking about. Muhammad Ali had Ken Norton. Ken Norton was Muhammad Ali's boogeyman. Mm-hmm. He was the guy that gave him nothing but fits. Mm-hmm. Just his style and the way he fights. And Ruiz might be that guy against Joshua, the way he fights, his style, just is going to give Joshua fits if Joshua is not just technically perfect in the way he goes about this fight and keeping him at distance. You've got that range, you got that length. Keep that distance, make him pay when he comes in, get yourself out, but you got to be disciplined. Can he be disciplined for that long?
Can he do it for 12 rounds and keep Ruiz off of him for 12 rounds? Look, Ruiz, he's got the conditioning that maybe doesn't look like he does. He's got the conditioning to step through there for 12 rounds and push the pace. Does Anthony Joshua have the conditioning to go 12 hard rounds, though, with Ruiz?
He does. You know, look, he did it. He had his fight against Klitschko. He was put on the deck. Got him back up. That was in the 11th round. I think he ended that one. So
yeah, but
he's got that ability.
But Klitschko never fought at a fast pace, though, either.
That's true.
Ruiz has the potential. Like people, that's what people don't get. Like you're dealing with guys like Kane, who they don't look like they're in shape, and the pressure and just the pace that they set for heavyweights, it's just hard to match. You know, and Ruiz has that. You know, and that's carried him through his career quite well. I think if he gets Anthony Joshua into like the 7th and 8th and 9th round and has that pressure and that pace, he doesn't even have to be really throwing. He just got to be in that range to slip your jab, make you miss the jab. If he can make Anthony Joshua's jab miss and leave himself open, it's going to make Anthony Joshua
make him work.
He's going to make him work, make him flinch more, make him tighten up, make him start to get tired, make him use energy in areas that he was not used to using energy in. I'm sorry, I'm still going with Ruiz, man. I'm going with Ruiz. I'm going him.
So am I.
I'm sorry, I'm going big. I'm going Mexican style, baby.
You're going California kid.
Yes, I am. I'm excited for him. Honestly, I truly am excited for him. I love seeing success stories like this, and it's pretty fucking cool. I love it.
All right, let's talk about another California kid. Well, no, he's a California old man. You got Tito Ortiz fighting tonight.
Oh, man.
Against Alberto Del Rio Rodriguez, El Patron.
Oh, man.
What other freaking names
Dos
does he go
Caras
by? Dos Caras Jr. with the mask against Mirko Cro Cop. Come on.
Oh, man. Jeez.
How many pay-per-view buys?
Oh, that's what we're doing. We're doing the
Give me an estimate. Give me an estimate, man.
Under 30,000.
Oh, you're going to go 30,000?
I'm going to go under 30,000.
Well, that's a lot of that's 29,999 guesses.
That's under 30,000 pay-per-view buys. Yeah, I would say probably closer to 25.
Yes. All right, especially with the UFC, you got Overeem against Jairzinho.
Yeah.
Rosenstruck. I know I'm saying that wrong,
Yeah,
but that dude's a monster.
Yeah.
And that's free on ESPN.
Yeah.
And they're going against that. I mean, they don't really have to go against the Ruiz and Joshua fight, but that I just don't see them doing a lot of numbers.
No, I don't see it at all.
I will give them credit for this. As a promotion, I think that Combate has done a very good job trying to promote that fight, even though I don't think it's a good fight. But they've done a good job in trying to make it, like have interest. And I think Tito has done a good job in trying to make it have interest. I just don't think especially outside of the Hispanic community, I just don't see it.
Let me ask you this. There's really no interest in Tito anymore. Look, I like Tito as a person.
How can you say that?
I like Tito as a person, but when
Tito's a great guy.
When people talk fighting, there's just no interest anymore. Like you get to an age and a certain point, people are just like, okay, look, it's done. It's over. The one thing I can respect about Chael's like, look, I did what I could. It just wasn't meant to be. He walked away. It's like he was making money. He could keep making a fucking shitload of money, but he's just like, look, I'm getting further and further away from a title shot. And his promise, to his dad and to himself was that he would win a world title, which I think he did. I thought he won the WC title against, what's his name, Paulo Filho.
No doubt about it. He was the guy at the end when the WEC closed down the middleweight division. Chael Sonnen was the guy that was the one that should have had that belt.
Yep, 100%. So in my eyes, I think he should have been considered the world champion from the WEC. But regardless, anyways, I just don't see the interest anymore. And I think Chael kind of saw, or maybe just saw coming up, that like if I keep having performances where I'm getting further and further away from the title, people are going to stop caring. about what I do and what I say.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I feel like, where Tito's at right now. People are going to stop caring, and they have
Hold
already
it.
stopped. They've
Did
stopped
you
caring.
not see the TMZ interview with Tito?
No.
That he believes he could beat John Jones now? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had to bring it up.
Yeah.
I saw it. I watched it. I was like confused by it, but I love Tito, and he's a good person, and I think he's done an outstanding job in the world of MMA, and he needs to have this fight and get out.
Yeah.
It's a good time to get out.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think, hey, whatever you're making, I tip my hat, because I know he seems like he's always done he's always made the right decision when it came to him making money. I can't say he's always made the right decision for long term for his career,
No.
and things like that, but he's made the right decision on whatever brought him the most money. He could have went about it, I think, some things a little bit differently, but
Didn't always make the right decision. I was going to bring him the most money.
Oh.
Sometimes stepped over that dollar to pick up a dime.
yeah, I guess. Okay, I eat my own words. Yep, that's true.
Well,
That's true. I started going back into, like, when he was trying to do that deal with the Maloofs and the whole trying to start his own promotion and
yeah.
doing it, kind of like shot himself in the foot. And that's kind of where it all started. Anyways,
well, you can take it as look at his last venture when he fought Chuck. His belief was that De La Hoya was going to be a guy that was going to be trying to get into MMA, and he was going to be part of that, and it just didn't work out for him. And that's not his fault.
that was a fight, and I'm gonna say on both parties, Chuck and Chuck's one of my closest friends. Chuck and Tito, they made a huge mistake by not having that fight in Bellator. And the only reason why I'm saying that, is that I know that there was an offer that was presented to both of them that would, I think, been a longer term, better thing for them to sell themselves to the fan, get them back in the public, versus a one-time fight, try to sell pay-per-views, which did absolutely fucking horrible numbers. That I don't even know if they broke fucking 30,000 pay-per-view. I think it was 25. No. Yeah, so it didn't break.
It wasn't even 25.
Yeah, so ridiculous. Like, and that's kind of that to me was like the one thing where they didn't make the right decision, and they should you blame both of them. Like, hey, you guys could have done something where you could have had so much more for that fight. But regardless, I mean, fight's done, it's over, and both
I look
guys.
at it this way: I think they gambled. They gambled on themselves, and they lost in that equation.
That sucks, man.
That happens.
That sucks, though, because then there would have been more time leading up to the fight as well for them to do all the PR and the press and get out to all around the U.S. and help sell and pump the fight. They didn't do that. Like, honestly, when that fight came about, outside of me being friends with Chuck, I really didn't hear about that fight at all until like the week of the fight. That was the shittiest thing. So that sucked. Anyways, what else?
That's about it, man. It's gonna be interesting to see the like I said, having the UFC on tonight, and then I honestly don't think that the Tito Del Rio thing gets 15,000 pay-per-view.
15,000. Wow.
I'm going 15 and below.
This is what I don't understand. Why when companies like this, they have something like this that may sell amongst the Mexican market, whatever it is, but why take the chance?
That would be one chance.
Why not take the chance and put something like this on DAZN? Why not contact them and say, hey, can we do something like this to be put on that? Like, can we? Because you're going to try and do 15,000. Basically, if you're going to just do 15,000 pay-per-views, at least you can try to market it to fucking the 100 and something or 300,000 people or whatever that have DAZN already. I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't either.
They're already fight fans if they're on DAZN. They're all tuned in to watch Canelo. They're all tuned in to watch Triple G and everybody, and Anthony Joshua, Ruiz. These guys have probably all paid their subscription for the year already because Ruiz and Canelo are coming up. It's like, if Ruiz loses tonight, you're gonna probably see a part 3. So you might as well have paid the year up front for $80. I don't understand why Kabata didn't just say, hey, you know what, we have
especially
Tito
since they have a deal with DAZN already. They are on. DAZN is like. Sometimes promoters get that, I can make a lot of money at this. And you go, no, you're not going to make a lot of money at this. No one cares.
You're going to actually lose a lot of money at this.
Well, and that's part of the promotion game.
Yeah. What?
They've got 114,000 subscribers on YouTube. Why not just market to that audience and give the fight and do like a lot of advertisements? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true too. They could just market and advertise it on YouTube on their own.
You're saying
just
that
give it away for
you're saying
free.
Combates has their own YouTube channel that's got 114,000?
Yeah. Like market to that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that would be another
the
way.
way that
just,
everything's becoming free these days are really cheap, and but it's flooded with advertisements. Like
TV's in a very.
Hey, Dave,
go ahead,
Dave. What is the price on that pay-per-view? Do we even know? 'Cause I don't.
I'm gonna check right now.
But like TV's in a very weird place right now. It's almost like where music was when it was LimeWire and Napster. People were stealing songs, right? They were stealing music, and that's kind of where they're at now. Like, oh, you want us to pay for pay-per-view? Yeah, fuck you. I got a fucking link that gets me right to it for free. Like that's kind of where we're at. So the fact that they have 114,000 people on YouTube, like he was saying, subscribers, why not just air it on there and sell the shit as advertisements like and just have advertisements come in between every round. And just whatever you make from there would probably be a lot more than what you would make from your fucking pay-per-view.
Well, and the real thing is this, people, I don't know if everyone understands, but pay-per-view is only going to be here in North America.
Yeah.
It's going to be in the United States and Canada, I think.
And Australia.
Is it?
I don't know if theirs is, but I'm simply saying, I don't know if theirs is.
I don't know if they have that, but I know theirs is in the U.S. and Canada, and all of Mexico, all of Latin America, that's all free.
Yeah,
it'll go out on a channel. It'll go out on whatever channel that they're associated with in those areas, but they're not making money for that. And here in the United States, there's just no interest in that fight.
It's funny
because it's not a fight.
Yeah, I have like a set of like they're like a second set of family to me, like parents to me. They live in Panama, and they're like they go to the local, and so when I would fight in Bellator, they would go to the local like little like restaurant / bar area, and they would have it on TV there. Like that's where we could watch you. We watch you. They walk down, have a couple drinks, and have dinner and watch me fight. It's funny. I'm like, man, this is crazy. You guys can just watch it on normal TV. In the meantime, everyone's paying for pay-per-views here. So crazy.
Pay-per-views, $30. But the funny thing is, I had to scour through MMA websites for that because when I clicked on the pay-per-view link on Combate's website, it said, "Oops, this page cannot be found." So
that's not good.
No, that's not good.
But $30.
Wow. But that something like that happened with De La Hoya's. Remember with De La Hoya for Chuck and Tito? They had some issues with their pay-per-view as well.
But they went and did some kind of thing where they were going to give a discount.
Ah, yeah.
And that became a real problem.
Oh, yeah, because people that already had paid for it full price were like, fuck you, I want my money back.
Exactly.
Wow. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Anyway, now I said 30,000 thinking, Mexican fans will tune in and watch and this and that. But I like Dave's idea a lot more of just streaming it on YouTube channel.
They get 500,000 followers on Facebook. Facebook Live?
Yeah, put it on Facebook Live. Fucking, they got 500,000 followers on Facebook. That's damn. Between that, you could probably run. You could do your Facebook Live and YouTube. That's 700,000 or 600 something thousand people. Fucking.
Well, if you're getting everyone to watch.
Yeah, you're not. But I'm saying though. But at least you have. That there's people that are already like you. They like your page because they want to watch your shit. So at least that there's people out there versus someone having to scroll through and find out that there's no way to link to your pay-per-view now, like we just saw right now. For $30, I gotta pay $30, and I gotta sift through all this bullshit to find it. No way, man. No way. I don't get it.
The harder something is to find, the less people will actually look.
Yeah. Hey, can we do a couple fan questions, like 2 or 3?
There's no recent ones, but
okay.
I can call up a couple of buddies if you want.
No.
I'm kidding. Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything.
Okay, he's not okay.
Good.
No, we're good today.
I'll get some for Monday.
What's that?
I'll get some for Monday.
Okay, sounds good. Do you guys want to film tomorrow night instead? Tomorrow night? Good. Yeah, let's do that.
Either way.
I'd like to. I'm kind of liking the Sunday filming. So we're not rushing around.
There is one that's kind of new. It might take Big John back a little bit if you want me just to get one out.
Yeah,
squeeze one out.
Let's go Big John. Let's go Big John.
Let's go Big John. Altered Carbon wants to know, what was the atmosphere experience like when you refereed on Jason Miller's Bully Beatdown?
Bully Beatdown was one of the most hysterical shows or things that I ever did. I loved it because it was so funny. The way that things happened in that show and the way they did it, all of the fights were done within a 2 to 3 day period for the season. They would schedule, and it was done in the state of Utah at Salt Lake City. They would schedule all of the fights for that 2 or 3 day period. And the one thing that happened with that is the actual fighters. I helped bring in a bunch of guys like Tyron Woodley and DC and Andre Arlovsky and Jake Shields and Eddie Alvarez. I got all those guys because when they first started it, King of the Cage had the ability to pick the fighters. And the one thing that they were really concerned about was the fighters hurting the contestant. And I told them, I said, well, part of your problem is you've got C and D level fighters. Yeah, they're worried about losing, so they're going to go really hard. You bring an A level fighter, they can play with the contestant, not have to worry about it and make it look good. I said, your biggest problem is your two best fighters right now are Jason Miller, who's your host, and Jeremy Horn, who's your corner guy. I said that's your problem. You need better fighters. So I helped get them fighters. And the one thing they did really well is they kept the fighters a secret. The contestants had no idea until the moment that they were standing in that cage and the fighter was announced. They had no idea who they were fighting. Well, there were several contestants that I knew of them. I knew their brothers who were training in MMA or they were fighting. And these guys, and they tried, there was 3 types of people that went on that show. A guy that was really a dummy that thought he was tough. Okay, and he was a dumbass bully and he deserved to get his ass kicked. The second ones that you would get on that were people that they trained actually. And they had a friend and they told a friend, hey, you can say that I bully you and, we'll split the money. Cool. And so you would get that kind of person. And the third person you would get is someone that they would just say they were a bully just so they could get on TV and get the shit beat out of them. Wow. So those are your 3 different times. But there were certain guys that got in there that, they would look and they're saying, hey, man, I'm going to make money at this. And I'll split it with my friend. But I'm going to make money doing this because it's, $5,000 you can come out with $10,000.
Wow.
And they're like, and all of a sudden the fighter would walk out. And there was one guy, there was a kid that he was from Mission Viejo area. He was training at Marco Huis's. I had been down there and seen him. Mm-hmm. And so they had him with a certain fighter. And I said, hey, man, you cannot put that kid with that fighter. That's going to be a problem for you guys. That's a low-level fighter. I said, you need to switch him. You need to put Eddie Alvarez against him. So they did that. So Eddie Alvarez walks out and he looks at me, right? And he starts shaking his head. And at the end, they always have him sign the lockers. Yeah. At the end. And they had the guy signs the locker. He says, I come here knowing I'm going to get $10,000 and you give me Eddie fucking Alvarez. Thank you very much. He came out with nothing.
Oh, brutal, man.
But it
brutal.
was fun. The atmosphere as far as the fights, the contestants, some of them were so clueless. Yeah. Some of them actually thought, there was one guy, I'll give you a little story. There was a guy who, I walk into a Japanese teppanyaki restaurant with Jake Shields and my wife, and they say, oh, there's a wait, but we have one table, and you can see that the people sitting at this table, they've got tap out all over them, right? So it's like, well, I think those are 2 of the contestants. Yeah. Right? But they were bigger guys. So we go and we sit down and they're like, oh my God. And the one guy comes from the area where my gym's at. Yeah. And he goes, I swear to God, the only reason I'm doing this is I'm going to get the money to sign up at your gym. I go, that's why you're doing that. That's not, he goes, look, I don't know fighting that well, but I'm super strong. I promise you. He goes, I'm going to throw the fighter out of the cage. Oh, geez. I go, you're going to throw the fighter out of the cage. All right. He goes, if I do, will you give me a free month? I said, dude, you throw the fighter out of the cage, I'll give you a free year. Right? And he goes, it's done. Right? Oh, geez. And so he goes and he says, the only thing that I don't need, he goes, as long as they don't give me someone like And I had gotten Andre Arlovsky, and that was the guy. This guy was going to go against. He goes, as long as they don't bring me, and I swear to God, he says the name Andre Arlovsky, right? And Jake Shields looks at me like, how the fuck does he know, right? And I go, well, that's not going to happen. He goes, I know they'll never get him. So he goes, I'm good. And when that guy is standing in the cage and Andre Arlovsky was introduced, he lost his shit, man. He was like, oh my God. He didn't even make it to the second part of it.
That's so fucking funny.
All he did was the damn grappling thing, and he was puking and throwing up, and they called it on him. So
that's great.
Yeah, didn't throw him out of the ring either.
Can I ask you? Can you clarify this? Was there something that went on with Thomas Denny?
Oh yeah. There was and that was part of when I started to get involved with bringing them fighters. Is Thomas Denny was one of the fighters of it because he was fighting in King of the Cage all the time. And they put him, Thomas at the time was probably fighting at 155 at the heaviest, usually 145. And a contestant comes in. I knew of him because I knew his brother. His brother was a kickboxer in K1. His brother's name was Ruslan. And so they were going to do that fight. And I said, man, I'm telling you right now, that kid can fight. That's going to be a problem for you. I said, Thomas may be able to get a submission on him, but when it gets into the kickboxing element, I'm telling you that guy's going to be better than Thomas. And so Thomas goes and tries to submit him, can't even submit him in any of it, and then gets up into the kickboxing, and this kid was lighting Thomas up about it. So that kid walked away. That's the only kid that ever walked away with $10,000.
Damn.
He got it all, man.
Damn.
So yeah, that was the start of changing things and me being able to come in and help bring some quality fighters into it.
That's good. That's hilarious, though. That's funny. All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you for tuning in. Today was just like a spontaneous thing. We were texting each other last night. And we're like, you know what? We got to do a show talking about the Ruiz fight, the Calvillo situation, and then, Frankie Edgar, and just a bunch of little things throughout the week that happened. No huge news, but it was good to talk about the all the little things that were going on in the sport. So we will either probably film tomorrow maybe, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Hey,
talk to you later, my friend.
Have a good day, and we'll talk later.